Enderal, a complete conversion for Skyrim. Enderal is an entirely new game, based on the engine and architecture of Skyrim with the help of a large amount of Skyrim mods. In this video I want to talk about how Enderal works, some changes it makes compared to Skyrim, and talk about the things I liked and didn't like in this game. I'll do this without spoiling or discussing anything directly from the story. While Enderal is a completely new game and has nothing to do with anything from the Elder Scrolls universe, many things can be recognized from playing Skyrim. Combat of course still feels like Skyrim combat, and many objects, creatures and items can be recognized from Skyrim as well. There have been so many changes to these however, that even the most experienced Skyrim player will definitely need to get used to all the new mechanics and changes within Enderal. While combat might still feel like Skyrim combat, you'll notice your health and mana will regenerate much slower after combat. The combat system overall feels harder with tougher enemies. You as a player will have to be more careful using potions and certain spells for healing. Using most health potions in Enderal will add towards the new added Arcane Fever. For every potion you drink, this will add a few percent of Arcane Fever. When your Arcane Fever worsens, it will affect your stats in a negative way. Reaching 100% fever will kill you. Of course, there are ways to lessen this fever, but you should always keep an eye on it. Alchemy is still a powerful skill to master like in Skyrim, but you can't mindlessly consume most potions, especially health potions. The same goes for spells. There are healing spells within the game, but these too add to your Arcane Fever. In Enderal I myself relied on cooking a lot. Eating quality food outside combat heals the player and seemed a good way of healing. Cooking was something I never used in Skyrim, and it was a fun change to make use of it in Enderal. Now in single player games like Skyrim or The Witcher, or really most action RPGs, there is always that one combination of perks or item sets that will make your character really overpowered. I'm sure Enderal will have its meta character builds as well, but it wasn't all too obvious. We all know the leveling system in Skyrim. In Enderal however, leveling works differently. Experience towards your level is gained by doing quests, defeating enemies, triggering certain dialogue options with people and other miscellaneous actions like lockpicking or finding newly added collectibles. Whenever you level, you will get one memory point and a certain number of learning points and crafting points. Memory points are used to access new perks, learning points are used to advance combat skills, and crafting points are used to level up any artisan skills like enchanting and alchemy. To access your skills and perk trees in this game, you will have to cast a spell to bring you to a small area. Many of these perks and skills are somewhat similar to Skyrim's vanilla perks, but a lot of new perks have been added as well. Most of these perks have passive effects, and a handful in each skill tree has an active effect. These active powers can be used similar to how you use shouts in Skyrim. They don't cost mana or stamina, but have a cooldown just like shouts in Skyrim. Now I really like some of the combinations of perks you can choose here, and think most of the perks are well thought out. There is an extra feature that comes with these perks. There is a certain combination of perks you can choose that unlock a new passive combination effect. If you have 10 perk points in one skill tree and 10 perk points in another skill tree, you will unlock a new passive effect. As an example, having 10 memory points in the perk tree Elementalist and 10 points in the perk tree Trickster will unlock the new passive ability, the Arcane Archer. This boosts archery, elementalism and light magic, among some other interesting extras. You can also find out about these reading certain books within Enderal. And you can only have one of these combination effects active at a time. I myself really thought this is a great idea, and think it gives even more variation in gameplay. I did however wish there were more combinations. I myself used archery, which is Trickster, two-handed, which is called Vagrant, and the magic class Sinistro, and none of these had the combination effect. I first really liked the idea of this place to access your skill trees. The small island is somewhat more special than a simple menu. However, after a while I wished I could just access my level up the way I did in Skyrim. Hovering over the perks won't show what the perks actually do. You'll have to click on them to get the information. I prefer simplicity and an easier way to navigate in this type of menus over eye candy anytime. In Skyrim, using a certain skill will eventually level the skill up. Leveling your skills in Enderal is done differently by reading skill books. These skill books can be found as treasure and bought of merchants.
Now, I just put them out for you to look at. Tell me what you need, and be quick about it.
Reading a skill book will raise the respective skill 1 level. There are books for the range of level 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75 and 75 to 100. You can always use a book as long as it's under that level. But of course this is not the most efficient. The high level books will cost a lot more. To be able to use these skill books, you need the learning points and crafting points which you get from leveling up, which I mentioned earlier. You'll also find learning and crafting points from quests and can even be found by reading books. I myself needed to get used to this leveling system, but after a while I really liked it. This makes gold important in Enderal, since your skills can only be leveled by reading these books. It can get expensive buying the right books from merchants, and this makes exploring in Enderal very rewarding. Many places will treasure skill books, learning books, unique weapons, new armors and other treasure. You'll be forced to trade with merchants at some point if you want to progress your skills efficiently. Just doing the main quest in this game will definitely get you murdered later on in the game, on harder difficulties, because you simply won't do enough damage if you didn't raise your skills. Merchants in this game are very useful. If you don't use alchemy or magic in this game, you might occasionally want to restock on potions and food as well from these merchants. All the mage classes are different, but again similar to Skyrim. Magic classes have been redone and a lot of the spells are not found in the vanilla Skyrim. I personally played with and liked the Sinistrope class, which uses psionic and entropy spells. These spells feel close to conjuration and vampiric spells from Skyrim. The abilities for this were fun to use, with spells like Devour Body to consume the soul of your fallen enemies to recover health, or using spells that drain your own life to damage your enemies, or even go as far as bewitching an enemy to fight for you, only to explode whenever it dies. And of course there are different summons to master in this skill tree, even though these felt slightly underpowered to me. This certainly is a magic class suited for a more sinister type of character. There is also a simpler and more straightforward class to choose, the Elementalist class. And these focus on the elements, casting fire, ice and lightning. This class probably feels the most like destruction. A powerful class meant mostly to do damage. Finally we have the Thaumaturge class, which focuses on light and mental magic. Turning undead, healing, creating shields and other spells that might feel more like an illusion and restoration class. A noble magic class, but often comes with side effects like arcane fever. All by all I think the magic has been well done and is fun to play around with, even though I found some spells and perks somewhat underpowered. I did find that it isn't the best way of dealing damage in later areas of the game. It could have been a little more powerful in the endgame, but it could also have been that I didn't find the most powerful ranked spells yet. Another change you'll notice is that you can't wait, and that there are no fast travel options when you open your world map. The world of Enderal is huge, and not being able to fast travel is something that I miss at times. The game has however placed a number of fast travel possibilities in the world. One of those fast travel ways is by the use of Mirats. Mirats have been placed on tactical locations in this world. You can fast travel from one place to another with these. Inside the largest city one can travel through notice boards. Finally, Enderal uses teleport magic to get to different locations. As far as I've seen, this teleport magic only comes in the form of scrolls. Some of these can be found throughout the world, and others can be found from your friends in this game, the merchants. So even though you can't fast travel through the world map, one still can get around many places easily. Not being able to wait was something that I didn't like too much in Enderal at first, but there haven't been too many times that I really missed it. Wanting to sell some items and finding out that the shop just closed was kinda annoying. This however forced me to rob the store and immersively find a tavern to buy a room for the night. Also, while I'm exploring I usually like to travel during mornings and evenings in these games. Nights aren't that terribly dark in Enderal and torches really help in this game, but it's still dark enough to miss some nice sights and even some items sometimes. Besides all the differences the game makes as far as mechanics go, Enderal looks so much better than Skyrim. From the beginning to the end, Enderal kept impressing me. The way how everything is placed and the layout of the towns and cities is just absolutely amazing to me. The small towns feel like small towns. And the larger city comes with different areas to them. It's really well done. I also really love the lighting in Enderal. Enderal can be very colorful at times, almost fantasy-like. However, while in dungeons or when it rains, this completely changes. Colors turn grey and leaves the game somewhat somber looking. It really knows how to set the atmosphere right. There's also a lot of variety in areas, from desert sands to tropical jungles and even snowy mountains. All very well made, and the transitions between the different areas is done smoothly. To make this experience even better, the game has a ton of very well done custom music included, as some of the music really got to me at times. Even the bards have a good number of songs, which are very well written and sung.
They were only 200 people strong when Malthus ordered them to come along. Follow on my path to another land where happiness and peace forever dwell.
The voiceovers of characters is also very well done, with a huge team behind it. The story in Enderal is very interesting to say the least, and has a good number of twists and turns involved. There is some deep storytelling in this game, and some of the character development is on high level. The main quests take some many hours before completed and has multiple outcomes based on your actions. There are a good number of side quests and generic notice board quests as well, to keep you busy and earn more gold and other treasure. As with the main quest, most of these side quests have some interesting twists and outcomes. As the story progresses, new interactions become available with some of the main characters, and some might like or dislike you for the things you say. This makes the character development more interesting, and eventually this also makes for different and interesting outcomes. Delving in these characters, their story was a very fun experience, and the voiceovers of these characters couldn't be done better. If you like to get most out of the dialogue options, try training rhetorics, which in a way is the same as speeches. It'll open up new dialogue options throughout your journeys. It really seems like no spot has been left untouched in Enderal, and even there where you don't expect to be something, you will most likely find a new location anyway. The main quest and side quests of this game only cover certain areas of Enderal. You won't find some of the most impressive locations in the main quest. I do wish they did put a little more emphasis on these locations. I've seen a lot in this game and explored places I thought there would be nothing, where eventually I found a huge castle to explore. And just walking around and exploring really feels rewarding in this game. After finishing this game, I used the console commands to make all map markers visible to see what I didn't discover, and even saw that there was a good amount of the map that I hadn't been to at all. Enderal does have collectibles scattered across the world, granting experience and overall pushing you more to explore this beautiful world. If anyone still hasn't tried Enderal for any reason, I really advise them to do so, either by playing or watching a Let's Play. It's been a great experience for me, and actually I think it's worth replaying. This really is something different from any other mod you've seen. This game really is grade A, and it almost feels like a crime that this is for free. Not that they can charge us for it, but still, you get the point. There's a ton of lore and books to be found in Enderal, which makes the entire world feel very alive. The storytelling, music, character design, voiceovers of NPCs, dialogue writing and graphics is definitely the best I ever seen in a mod. For as far as this can be called a mod, of course. I'm sure you will be surprised quite a few times by this game if you take your time to delve into the story. This is definitely one of the best experiences and certainly the best surprise I had the last year with PC gaming. Even if you're the kind of person that skips through all the dialogues and stories, this game probably still is worth checking out for its exploration and anything else you did like in Skyrim. Or maybe just for a new and in my opinion better feel to somewhat more Skyrim content and combat. Enderal is a very welcome change and refreshment, if you are new to this game, the best thing to think is, it's not Skyrim. It doesn't have anything of the lore Skyrim does, nor is it the same universe at all. I personally don't even think I've noticed models for Khajiits, Argonians or Orcs in the game, now that I think of it. And as for performance, Enderal seems to run very well. I did have a few crashes over the course of my playthroughs, and I did have to replay a small part at some point because the important character bugged out. This is nothing new though if you are used to playing Skyrim seriously. Just save often. And it ran fine on Ultra for me using a GTX 950. I even had a few graphic mods added to this, like superior silverware. The lowest FPS I had was a little over 40 in the most intense areas. If you can run some graphic mods with Skyrim on Ultra, you will probably be able to play this just fine. This game has over 30,000 hours of work in it, and when you delve deep in the game you can easily get over 100 hours of playtime. I leave a video in the description for the easiest way on how to install Enderal without messing up your main Skyrim game. This way you will be able to switch between the two within a few minutes. I'll also leave a video to the game's trailer. I really hope we get more conversions from these authors, preferably even within the same universe on other provinces. I really can't praise this game enough. If you haven't played this already, I hope this video helped convincing you to do so. Just start downloading this already and be amazed by this game. Let me know your experience with Enderal. I myself will most certainly delve back into it for another playthrough, with different skills and different choices. My final rating of this game would be a spectacular out of 10. I did use quite a bit of mods for Enderal, and will probably make another video showing the mods that I personally used and could improve your game experience. Since I completed the game now, I'm sure these are compatible when used with care. And that's about it for this review. Consider leaving a like or subscribe, and be sure to endorse this game on the Nexus. Give some support to these developers. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you all next time.